Welcome to the Women in Business radio show with Sian Murphy, connecting women in business around the globe.
Hello and welcome into the Women in Business radio show studio. You'll have to hang on a minute because I'm not organised behind here. I've got keyboards and wires and cables and all sorts. Hang on a mo. Whilst I'm getting myself sorted out, Adele, would you like to say hello?
Hello, hi everybody.
I don't know what I'm doing here. Hang on a minute. Have I got everybody? I've got everybody on here.
We're all on air.
Right?
Yeah, we're all good.
What's it? Somebody once said to me, everybody's fed and nobody's dead.
It's
true. A good day.
Everyone's, yeah, I can see them smiling. They're still smiling, I guess.
It is a
full studio, that's it.
It is a good, I tell you what, it's a good day. I've also got something in my eye, which is really, really annoying. So let's get on with this, shall we? We have got a full studio. So who have we got in the studio? We have... Oh, excuse me. Oh, dearie me. We have got Jules, so Julie Hawkins. Jules, who is the founder of the Single Mums Business Network. We've got Sam Presneill, who is from the Careers and Enterprise Company and also the Education People. Welcome, Sam. Welcome, Jules. We've also, so appropriately, with Jules, what with it being the Single Mums Business Network, we have got Kaylin, who is Jules' daughter. So welcome, Kaylin. Can you lean into the microphone and say hello? Welcome, Kaylin. Welcome into the studio.
Hello.
So what I'm really hoping is that this isn't going to put you off, okay? That you're not going to think, what is it? What are they? These are business women? Yeah. I'm not heading into that, no. Probably very sensible. Also in the studio, we have got Jacinta Banks, who is a health and nutrition coach. Have I said hello to everybody? I think I have, haven't I? You have. I have. Look at that. Rock on. It's a good day. So, Adele, would you like to tell people how they can listen in?
Well, they can listen to us through Spotify, through Audible, Alexa, You Need the Skill, Apple Podcasts and Spreaker.
And how can they connect with us?
They can connect with us on Twitter through Wib Radio Live. On Instagram, it's the Women in Business Radio. And Facebook and LinkedIn is the Women in Business Radio Show.
And I'm going to put an appeal out because I'm running out of wine. Okay, so it's getting quite serious. So, and Adele, you're running out of protein shakes, aren't you? Which explains why Adele looks like Adele looks and I look like I look. So, we would love for you to become a supporting member, and you can do that by heading over to the womeninbusinessradioshow.com, and there's a bit on the menu bar which, strangely enough, says become a supporting member. And so, for £7 a month, you can get the behind the scenes newsletter, which I don't know, you may want to think twice about, but it helps us keep it so that everybody that's coming on here gets the opportunity to come on here without having to pay a big fee, without having to hire an agent, and it helps us keep our studio, it keeps our microphones going and of that sort of thing.
It sure does.
So we've got an announcement as well, haven't we? Would you like to do the one about the Women in Business Big Show?
So we have the Women in Big Show in August, and it is at the Longfield Academy. And this will be our second time coming out of lockdown, and there's some really good vibes in there. We've got VIP tickets, and we've got amazing sponsors, including myself, and in the room.
We do, and we have, Jules is also is one of our key sponsors for the Women in Business Radio Show, as are the FSB. And so thank you so much for Jules to supporting us and helping us to keep going, because the Women in Business Radio the big show is, once again, it's a platform where we're able to help women exhibit at a large event without some of the huge costs that go with that. And we have also two other exhibitors here as well. You can see there's a theme. So both Sam and Jacinta are also exhibitors as well. So what I really love about all of this is how it sort of keeps everybody connected. We all meet different people, and there's some collaboration that goes on. It's a sharing of ideas, and it's just good fun as well, isn't it?
It absolutely is.
Yeah. So Adele will be romping around in the Fit for Business zone.
I will be.
Talking about hormones and all of that sort of thing, and also speaking.
I will, and VIP doing that as well.
And I just want to do a shout out for some events in Maidstone and Longfield. So these are our Cafe in the Calm events, which are running at Maidstone on the 6th of August. That's this Saturday at Snowfields Academy, which is just around the corner from Knockcuts Garden Centre, if you know it. And we are on the Sunday, we are at Longfield Academy with Cafe in the Calm. And there are readers, and there's jewellery, and there's massage and reflexology and facial reflexology. There are healing, beauty, so much going on, and you can spend the whole day there. You can spend the whole day. We have some super tea and coffee. Spend the whole day. We have free adult colouring. You can dip into our books or bring your own book, do some journaling, and have just a really good time, sort of either by yourself, come along with a mate, just calm down, connect, maybe have a treatment. All of the treatments are professional. There's no taster sessions, nothing like that. It's exactly the same as if you went to a spa or a clinic. So that's that. I'm done now. I've worn myself out. Where should we go? I tell you what, shall we start with our little sort of round the table thing?
Absolutely.
I think so. Have I got the right pieces of paper here? Okay, so of course, what you guys don't know, although if you listen to the show, you would know. So this is my little bit of cruelty.
It's a test.
It's the test. Is what we do. We have sort of a bit of a sort of round robin, if you like, where we just share tools, tips, anything that we've sort of come across this week or that you've been using for a while. Doesn't really matter, that we find useful that will help women in business. So, have you got a tool? I don't know what.
I've got a tool that I'm extending.
Are you? Really?
Yeah, I am.
Okay.
Absolutely. So it is.
You're not going to mention that bloke again, are you?
Mr. B.
Yeah.
That's not that section yet.
Oh, okay.
I might. We've got a thing going on about, and there's another podcast that I listen to.
Yeah.
But I'll share about that later. Mr. Stephen Bartlett. Got a thing for him.
Yeah.
Right. So it's Soho Socials, and again, it's for me is we have these softwares that we buy, and then sometimes we see others. And sometimes you forget to look at that horrible thing when I've got to log on, I've got notifications. And all of a sudden, Zoho have released some good updates to socials. So you can do Instagram carousels now, you can do group hashtags, and you can follow that. So for me, it's an existing tool, but I check notifications, but oh my God, it can do more than I thought. So now, all of a sudden, it's leveled, it's increased its position from a social platform. So so that was the tool. So I've been setting up my group hashtags and Instagram carousels now on Zoho Socials. That's my tool.
And I use Zoho Social as well. And in fact, the whole Zoho One package, I'm thinking of becoming a partner.
I think we should.
Actually, because we use it in Storm Chasers Digital as well with clients and for websites. And I'm actually thinking of becoming a partner with them. It's a super tool.
It is.
It's quite frustrating in some ways. There are certain things that don't work, or it's difficult to find out how you get them to work. But overall, as a package and tying everything together, it's superb.
And when they do,
and it does nearly everything else. I've just found out that it does the equivalent of Zoom as well.
Yeah, it does.
So I don't need Zoom.
No.
Sorry, Zoom. But that's another little tool that we can get rid of. Okay, so Jules, have you got a tool that you can recommend that you use? And it doesn't have to be something that's online. It doesn't have to be a piece of software. It could be pen and paper.
Yeah, actually, unprepared. Shamedly, sorry. So online, obviously, we have got all of these tools available to us. For me, it's all about actually the humanity of it, connecting with other women. That has always been the best tool. It's actually really engaging, really networking, really talking to each other, really getting to know each other, because we are each other's best shop window. That's always been the best tool that works for me. The referrals, the word of mouth and everything else. So I would say, don't forget to invest in each other and real life connections and real life hugs. We can't get lost completely in social media because it's a massive swamp pool.
Agree.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you. Sam?
Yeah, no, I would agree with Jules, actually. I've been getting out and about more and actually starting to network with people face to face and find that really, really rewarding, far more empowering than over email or, as you say, over Zoom or Teams, because there's nothing better than actually being in front of somebody and being able to read their body language, read their facial expressions, because you don't get that online. And like you say, Jules, having a hug when it's gone well. So, I think it's...
I tell you, during lockdown, I was running this show on Zoom, and I hated it. Absolutely. I can barely open the thing up now and go. and go online. Because running something like a radio show, everybody's reactions, like it may only be a millisecond, but it sort of stops the conversation. So, yeah, no, I totally agree. I'm really pleased to be getting back out again.
Yeah.
Jacinta, hello. Have you got a tool that you could recommend?
I'm not sure I've got a tool, anything new this week anyway. I'd like to say that I completely agree with Jules and Sam, and I've been doing some networking myself this week. It really is great. I've been doing some work on Canva for myself, which sometimes you forget is as good as it is.
Yes. Yeah, no, absolutely. Thank you for a shout out for Canva. I think Canva's the sort of thing that we need to remind ourselves about regularly.
They've just done some new releases as well.
And
actually.
just to keep going back and dipping into it, because that's another tool that sort of evolves and evolves quite well and quite a lot, and it's always worthwhile keeping an eye on.
We can be an affiliate for them too, you know.
We could, couldn't we?
Yeah.
They got an affiliate scheme.
Yeah, they have. Yeah. They'll put that on the list.
I did think. I just put that down there. I did think about whether I was going to share this tool or not, because
I have checked. It's fine for Watershed,
because I'm a writer, and I thought, do I really want people knowing I've used this? But I had a trial of this, and I'm going to extend it, and that's Jasper, the AI writer. I've always been dead against them. But I used this thing the other day, and I don't like to say awesome, but it is absolutely superb. What it isn't, though, is you have to sort of know what you're talking about. You can't just go on there and get it to do stuff. You have to know your subject. I just found it an awful... and I wouldn't use it necessarily for my creative stuff, but sometimes when you're going on there and you just need the words and you need the structure, it's just superb. So for factual stuff, just brilliant. I'd at least go and have a look at it. I was sat there and my mouth was open.
So you've recruited Jasper, yeah?
my mouth was open as to some of the stuff that it was coming up with. It's a phenomenal.
But you
tool.
have to put the information in for Jasper.
You do. It will generate stuff, but if you don't know what you're talking about, so it says, oh hey, you can write blog posts and that sort of thing. But I wouldn't want something going out that I wasn't competent in and able to check. Yeah, and that sort of thing, because you still need to be able to go in and do a little bit of tweaking with it. So it may well come up with quite a well-structured paragraph, but you still need to go in and do bits.
At least you haven't got that blank. You stare at that blank sheet of paper, don't you? Where'd you start? I suppose he helps with that.
Yeah, and it's really good for generating titles and all of that sort of thing. It generates adverts, so things like Facebook ads, Google ads, all of that sort of thing. You just sort of need to go and have a look at it. As I say, it's not anything I would use for the more creative side of my writing. I don't write fiction, but I do write stuff about being a woman in business and other things that I wouldn't use this for, because that's coming out of my heart and my own head. Right. But for a lot of other stuff, I got it to write a press release.
Did you?
Yeah, I did, and I have to say it wasn't. Yeah, I could have come up with something pretty much the same, but not in like 3.5 seconds. just the physical act of I couldn't have typed it in that fast.
I'd have to get him to do more stuff. How quick?
Is it addictive? It is.
Is it addictive?
Yeah,
I can imagine that.
In fact, I was told at 3:00 in the morning that I was a sick woman.
Oh no!
And that I had to come back to bed.
There's 3 of you in a relationship now, yeah?
Yeah, okay. There is. Yes. Okay, right. That's my tool of the week. Okay, where are we going now? I think what we're going to do is we're going to start sort of having a chat about what we're all here to talk about, and we've got 2 topics today. So we've got Sam here, who is from the Education People. It's the Careers and Enterprise Company in the Education People. I'm just going to get her to say a little bit about how businesses can work with schools and why they might want to. So, Sam, welcome to the show. Can you just tell us a little bit about how you and the school and the business people interact?
Yeah, thanks, Sean. Thank you for having me. It's something that we do across the Kent and Medway Careers Hub. Obviously, we cover the whole of Kent and Medway. All the secondary provisions that have signed up to the hub can access our team for career support. And what we like to do is actually reach out to the businesses that are local to those schools to encourage them to engage with the schools to actually search for their future workforce. Because there are many young people in education who don't know what they want to do, don't know what's on their doorstep. So by having those interactions with those local businesses to understand what opportunities are there for them, how they can actually be employed by these people, and develop skills that perhaps they hadn't maybe thought about, or think about some untraditional routes and something a little bit different to what they might have started their careers thoughts about. By linking with those local businesses, we're actually increasing sort of like the economy within the local areas, but we're also actually bringing business corporate social responsibility to the forefront, allowing them to sort of meet the needs of the local population as well.
So if you're not based in Kent and Medway, and a lot of our listeners are in the States, we have listeners worldwide as well as sort of nationally. It's a general principle that they could embrace anyway, isn't it? Because
absolutely.
Perhaps by approaching the school directly or the local authority,
most definitely,
and just sort of seeing that it could be that there's already a framework, there's something set up already. But if not, perhaps it's a conversation, it's a dialogue that as a business person you could start having with your local school or academy, whichever part
most
of the world
definitely.
you happen to be in.
And if we've got employers that are actually thinking about taking on apprentices or broaching into the world of apprenticeships, because there are some employers that don't currently have apprenticeships employed, but actually starting to think about going down that route, with obviously the government's focus increasing around apprenticeships and T-levels, then actually there's a way that they can do that by contacting myself, and actually I can connect them with the people that will support them to provide the right training providers so that they can actually get those apprenticeship opportunities up and running, because that's often where businesses can struggle as well, is actually knowing who to go to get the support for the actual apprenticeship route. So and that's something we're quite keen to.
So we're sort of looking at it's almost like growing your future workforce, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because recruitment costs and retention costs are key. You spend a lot of time training somebody, and then off they go.
Yeah, definitely.
And, they leave. So I think what we're talking about here is this is the sort of thing that's suitable for businesses who perhaps have quite a long-term vision.
Yeah. And particularly small businesses as well, Sean, because lots of small businesses are either family run or just 2 or 3 people connected together, and actually they might want to sort of increase their workforce to actually take a back step themselves. So actually by doing that within the local community, what a better way to sort of keep their business going, but actually employ local young people to actually take on the roles that they want to sort of develop within their business, so that keeps their business going, but it doesn't mean to say they've got to do all the work for it. So
and if we looked at it as totally the what's in it for me, which a lot of businesses at the moment, they just have to. There isn't a lot of choice. They want to do stuff. They'd love to be able to do stuff, but at the moment everything is just so tight that they feel that they can't. So for them, being able to demonstrate corporate social responsibility, it's not just about, hey, look how good we are, aren't we wonderful? It's quite profile raising, isn't it?
Most definitely, and that's what we want to do, is actually reach out to some of those businesses that sort of are hidden away, those little hidden gems across the county, that actually we want to give that exposure to by them being able to connect with the school, whether it be allowing students to go and have an employer encounter at their provision, or them going in and talking to students in an assembly talk before they even think about taking those students on. It's actually making those connections to raise the profile of their business, and that's totally free.
Because you're not just talking to students, are you? Because when you get there are teachers.
Absolutely.
All right, teachers may not become part of your business, they may not become a client, but they may well know somebody who does, and so you're talking effectively to mums and dads.
Absolutely.
And the community that's around the school as well, aren't you?
All the stakeholders of the school. It's not just the students. It is actually obviously the staff that are there, because actually it could be a business that could provide staff with an additional service. For example, we've worked with an organisation organisation over in Kings Hill at St James Place, Wealth Management. They're going to be doing some stuff in our schools around with the students around finances, but also they offer services to the teaching staff as well as part of what they're offering our students.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is absolutely, it's opening the doors to all the stakeholders of the school, and also some of the parents as well, actually getting them to engage with what's going on in careers for their young people, not just so they're aware of what's happening for their young people, but also perhaps to revisit their own career pathways, and
Yes.
you know, reconnect themselves, and because, you know, careers provision over the years, I mean, I'm sure you can think back to your own careers. Exactly. Whenever I say this to people, that's exactly the reaction. That everyone laughs, and, you know, just think about the experience that it wasn't. It's taken a huge turn.
I do hope so. It was suggested that in fact, all I could do, and I actually mentioned the company, was the sweet counter in Woolworths.
Love it, Sharon. But exactly that is, you know, it is actually about opening the hearts and minds of all the stakeholders in education, not just the young people, but yes, the teachers, and the parents as well. So, you know, actually, what is on your doorstep, but also what's also there nationally, because we work with national companies as well. We do have a big sort of group of cornerstone employers who are national companies, and again, we would welcome the opportunity to share international experiences with our students. So if there are companies out there internationally, you know, we'd be more than willing for them to connect with us, because actually, you know, with the world of, as we've discussed, Zoom and Teams not always being our friend, but actually, and hybrid working, you know, it's definitely a way forward for us.
I think it's one of the things that lockdown has changed for the better.
Most definitely.
Is that for a lot of people it opened up a world that they didn't have before.
Yeah.
Because they had to, it forced them. We were forced into it,
most
weren't
definitely. Yeah, and you know, and also, you know, we now have to think about the hybrid world that we work in is actually going to be the way that our young people, that's the world of work that they're going to be going into. I mean, Kaylin, for example, who's here with us today, is going to be, you know, probably having experience of a hybrid working world different to what we did as youngsters.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we do in school as well. Sorry, Dave,
Yeah,
say something.
and also, I just remember coming back to the careers, it was go and work in a bank, because then it's a job for life.
Yeah, but it isn't.
But and my daughter's 25, and you know, they just job. I wouldn't say job in my language; it would be job hop. But she says no, sort of every 2 years, I'm going to change my role.
Yeah.
And she has, but now she's working in the government, so she's changed her role again. But that concept of where I was brought up with, you've got to work somewhere for a job for life, where these, and that's Millie at 25, so Kaylee, oh my God, I just can't even begin. And also where you might be a contractor and you might work for one bank and another bank. So therefore this whole thing of the world of work, before I left my last role, I was HR director, so I was looking at the future of work and how we do that. So you're absolutely right. When you look at Millie at 25 and Kaylin at her age, you're like, what will that world of work look like?
Absolutely.
It's interesting.
And we have to think about that when we're talking about experiences of the workplace for young people nowadays, that actually the working week might be 3 days at home and 2 days in an office, for example. So, you know, and it's how we then work with employers to build that into those experiences of the workplace.
Yeah, and the trust needed on that on both sides.
Absolutely, absolutely.
It's interesting, which you wouldn't have built that trust into that, because you turn up, you're in the premises, that's inherent trust. It's expected.
Yeah. Presenteeism.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's productive, but it's presenteeism. Yeah. And also, I was in the world where you have to be in head office in London to be promoted.
Yeah.
You know, that whole culture. But Millie my daughter's in 1 day or 2 days, and but me was, if you wanted to be promoted, you had to be in London, and not only in London, in a certain building on a certain floor every day of the week to be noticed. Yeah, and that's the culture that I worked in. It's different now, isn't it?
Almost definitely. And even now we're working with young students, sort of years 12 to 13, so those A-level sort of sixth form students. We're actually working with them on building their own LinkedIn profiles from 16 just as they can. So actually they start to make those connections with businesses online, because again, that's how they're going to be.
It's where their CV builds from there, isn't it?
Absolutely. So, you know, it's changed dramatically. It really has. But it's exciting, and
I think also the sort of the skills that sometimes we need in businesses. You know, I look at buying in. I buy in the skills that I need rather than employ somebody full time. and then try and get them to fit into every, if you like, keyhole that I have.
Yeah, same as me.
I buy in those skills. I say, well, actually, I need somebody who's going to do that for 4 hours a week. And I totally accept that they do something else for other people. But there's a degree of trust there as well, because I have to trust them to maintain my own brand. I have to trust them to not blab and to keep my own counsel and to be honest with me and keep that integrity.
Yeah, most definitely. And it's also, when we're talking about preparation for those onward steps, it's not just about the academic qualifications, it's also the development of those soft skills. Like you're saying, developing, actually understanding what integrity means within the workplace, and actually how you would conduct your behaviour in an environment is going to be very, very different to how you behave in school. And so there's a whole piece of work to be done there, and that can be delivered through mentoring as well, which businesses can offer that support and offer that strategic support to the senior leaders within schools as well.
Yeah, and thinking about it as well, I took on some apprentices and kickstart people during lockdown, and the sort of recruitment process were really surprised. I don't care what qualifications you've got; it's entirely irrelevant. I've got 3 degrees and a master's. I'm not all right. It may have got me something. I can assimilate information really, really quickly, but they're largely irrelevant, to be honest. It doesn't make any difference at all, and I really don't care about people's qualifications. But by going through a slightly different route, you actually get to know who that person is and what the skills are that our education system simply just does not measure.
No,
it just doesn't.
No. And I think also, a big thing for me is if I see young people who have got the enthusiasm, and I say to them, okay, so can you get to the place by 7 o'clock in the morning? Do you want to give this a go? And if they can answer yes to those 2 questions, actually that means a whole lot more to me than sometimes actually.
I agree, because the what I can teach. The how is. I'd rather somebody come to me with the how, and I can teach you how to edit a podcast or do my socials. But in terms of have you got the ability to turn up on time and think on your feet is far more key to me than have you got a certificate in X, Y and Z.
I've got all of these qualifications. Academically, it's stunning, but you wouldn't want to employ me. You wouldn't. I'm unemployable. I'm difficult.
I think that's challenging, Sean.
Yes, challenging. No, you wouldn't. Seriously, you would not want to. You would not want to employ me as an employee. You might want to bring me into your business, but you certainly wouldn't want me there full time or even part time. But I think and that's key, really, isn't it? Because I know quite a few people like that who are academically, when you look at them on paper, you think, oh crikey, wow, look at that. And if you weren't careful, you'd be very, very tempted to interview them, but have that interview focused towards their academic skills, and then take them on board without actually looking at the other things about how they adapt themselves and their teamwork. I'm not a team player. But all of that sort of thing matters.
Most definitely.
In fact, it's the key, isn't it?
Most definitely,
So it gives you the opportunity to perhaps sidestep the traditional measuring route, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting what you were saying as well, Adelle, that also so many young people, and you, Sian, now want to start their own businesses. So many students sort of saying that's what they want to do, because they like the idea of being able to work for many different organisations for X amount of days or hours a week, because again it plays to the skills and the strengths that they have, and I think that's great. And again, like you say, gone are the days of going and working for an organisation for 30 years. It's very rare that happens now. People do change organisations and directions as well. So
definitely.
But that's not a bad thing.
No, it isn't.
It's about having those transferable skills and developing those.
And for me, it's getting the key workforce ready at that right time.
Absolutely.
I feel sometimes in the UK we've only got to look at what Brexit done and the shift of skills, and in an organisation it would be a retraining process, and what we've happened in the UK, that's just a massive exercise that most top businesses do on a regular basis. So for me, I think sometimes we're just behind the curve on maybe getting them ready, but with the work that you're doing, and I think and working with SMEs or business women like us, we're far more agile than on our feet to be able to do that.
Definitely.
Definitely.
So I think the key message is it doesn't matter how big or small your business is. Engage with the local education authority, engage with the schools, get along there and start growing your own talent pipe.
Sorry, I was a HR director. I'm sorry.
Could you just stop that?
My bag.
Okay, Sam. Before I forget, because it's quite likely, despite all of these notes. You see, the notes, they'll be the death of me. I shouldn't have notes. I just used to have like nothing. Now I've got notes. Sam, how can people connect with you?
They can connect with me on LinkedIn. They can find me as Sam Presneill, the Operational Hub Lead for the Kent and Medway Careers Hub. Or they can email me at sam.presneill@theeducationpeople.org.
Thank you, Sam. Sam's going to be staying in the studio, so no, she's not going anywhere.
No.
I have missed an opportunity to say segue. Segue. Because... so annoying. Because Sam said about sort of changing roles and shifting with all of this sort of thing. I thought, I can say segue. And bring in, you see how smooth this is, isn't it? And bring in Jules, Julie Hawkins, because your story is very much about shifting, changing, isn't it? So I am going to let you tell your story about how you've ended up doing what you're doing, and then we're going to pick your brains until there's nothing left. So
Good luck with that one. I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, the more we talk, it feeds your brain, doesn't it? Because everything triggers something. And, there's a saying, ignorance is bliss. And it's such a true saying. And this is the thing. We were all trapped in the presentism and the rush hour traffic and the culture of school. And so ignorance is bliss until you can see what's on the other side. Yeah. So, if we lived in a barren land, but then we knew there was water over the hill, you would never be happy in that barren land because you knew there was water over the hill. And this is like you said, what work cultures have got to embrace now. People know they don't have to do it that way anymore. People know they don't have to be controlled. People know they don't have to be controlled, and they know that it's not acceptable to be stuck in rush hour traffic anymore in the mornings and at night. So we're no longer ignorant. So times have got to change to cater to our educated minds in terms of the way life can be. And it is sort of relevant to my journey and how this came about. So I can just go on, but I'll probably go off on a tangent. So just put your hands up if you want me to start.
I think what I'm going to do is sort of précis this a bit, because by bringing out the things that I think that struck me as being the key points, and that is also the key bed, actually, because I think your business journey started when you designed the key bed in 2011. So you were sort of manufacturer, design, creating a product, which looks as though, it's done wonderfully well. And then it's all sort of shifted a little bit, hasn't it, through your experiences of business and life into the single mums business network. So can I tell, are you still is the key bed still part of what you do and still part of your business?
I still supply them. Yeah.
So you do.
I do.
What does the key bed do?
So it is it's literally a pregnancy cushion that is used by professional practitioners to enable a pregnant client to lay prone on her belly in her second and third trimester. So this is the key bed pregnancy cushion here. Obviously you can't see on this radio, apologies, but I'm just holding up the advert in the magazine.
So I'm going to describe this. Imagine lying on a massage bed where there's a hole for your head. Okay, this is a cushion that has a space to put your tummy, your pregnant tummy, and then you can lie comfortably. And you can have a massage, for instance, whilst you're lying on your tummy. Yeah, your skeletal structure is fully supported. Now, I designed it out of convenience. I was pregnant with Kaylin at the time. I am a front sleeper. I think half of us are, half of us aren't. And I just really wanted to. I got into my second, nearly third trimester, and I was like, I need to lay on my belly and stretch my back out, and I couldn't do it. So I went to Google, expecting to find on Amazon. I think on Google, I expected to find what I needed, because you do, don't you, in the 21st century? And it wasn't there, and I thought, this is ridiculous. So I was like a caged lion at that stage. It was like I'd been starved and I was looking for a piece of steak. So I just went and bought some cushion foam, and I took it home, and with my long nails I just scraped out a hole.
I love that.
I just gauged it, and I just let on it, and I was like, oh, it's lovely.
I wished I had that.
Oh, it's amazing. Yeah, I just flunked my face in the pillow, and my bump went inside, which Kaylin right next to me here, and I was so comfortable. So that was it. I just did it for me. But then as the sort of midwife was coming over, and I took it to the massage therapist, and I said, look, would you mind giving me a massage on this? Because I don't want to lay on my side. I want a good back massage. She's like, oh, wow, this is brilliant. Oh, I wish I had this for my pregnant clients, and the midwife was reassuring me not only how safe it was, but how brilliant it was for like babies in breech. They can turn and all of these things, like yoga, you're told to do the cat curl position and things like that. So I can't make these claims officially, but all these things is what was being told to me, and I thought, oh, I feel like I'm duty bound to share this as a marketable product. But I was already, even though still pregnant, I already knew I would be doing it alone. I was on maternity leave. And I was pretty much destitute already. And I thought, wow, okay, I don't know how I'm going to bring this to market, but I know I have to.
Yeah.
And then, to make things worse, when I was on maternity leave, my employer sold the company. So my job was protected under 2Pay, but it was on the contract terms 9 till 5:30. Childcare finished at 6. I had to leave early, and my employer said, no, Julie, that doesn't fit with the needs of the business. You cannot leave early. Childcare said, no, you cannot pick her up late. That was it. After 20 years of working full-time and paying tax, I was destitute, and I had to apply for benefits because I couldn't get the, and so I had to bring this product to market in absolute adversity. So this is why. So again, to make that long story a bit shorter, it took me another few years, months to save up material while I was eating beans on toast. But I brought it to market, and then this is why your show's so relevant and why I support it. You let people exhibit for such a nominal fee. It's brilliant. When I needed to exhibit my key bed, I couldn't find affordable exhibitions. It was like, Julie, it's like 1,000, 2,000, whatever. And I said, well, can I please just bring a banner and stick it up in the toilet? I need people to know about my product. I need to sell it. I need to sell it so I can eat. I need to feed me and my baby. Just one sale would really help me buy food for a whole week. Like, this is everything to me. I was working part-time, but that wasn't enough, and I still needed benefits to top my income. It was humiliating and degrading and soul-destroying, and people were judging me. So I didn't even want to stop working full-time. But anyway, so they wouldn't let me. I said, can I just be in your brochure? Can I just be in your brochure so when people go away with their goodie bag, there's just a little one line in there that says, oh, there's a key bed pregnancy cushion. No, Julie, you need to be an exhibitor to benefit from that. Thousands. I couldn't do it. So I really applaud and celebrate affordable exposure like what you're offering. It's brilliant, and it's needed by so many people. So because of that then, networking, getting to know women in business, word of mouth, learning marketing to such a degree. I got awards and recognition from the Guardian newspaper. Everything I had to do was without any means whatsoever. I went to listen to inspirational talks from women who said, I only had £20,000 to start my business with.
And you're thinking,
I'm thinking, give me £2. You know, £200 would be life-changing for me right now. Venture capitalists saying, no, you're too high risk, you need to join. I'm like, I don't need that much money. I just need a bit. So it was just, but women, they lifted me, they inspired me, they told me that my product was good and it was worth doing. And anyway, so cut a long story short, when I got to a point where I was okay, I thought, all right, the stigma and the humiliation as a single parent, the need to be on benefits when I should never have been, all of those things combined, I thought there must be other single mums out there like me with a really strong work ethic or with a really good business idea or just being self-employed because she's constructively dismissed by presenteeism, where the childcare and work doesn't marry up, all of these things. I thought, right, that's my people and I'm going to help them and we're going to start making some noise. That's what I've been doing since 2019. Literally yesterday, I gave Liz and Rishi such an ear bashing. I'm so proud of myself because that's what I was aiming towards. I've been writing to government for 7 years saying these barriers shouldn't exist, and the letters are filtered and I get standard responses from Downing Street, and I'm trying to get a message across. Anyway, it's working. We're doing it. So that's what it's about.
So, thinking about your experience, I'm just going to go back on to the thing about events, because you were mentioning the prices there. Mm-hmm. That is one of the reasons that I set up the Women in Business Big Show, and why I set up this radio show as well, is to give women an affordable platform to experience getting out there. But I want to talk about that exhibition thing, because even if you'd have had the money, and even if you can sit there and scrape together that money, I'm just going to warn anybody about having that as their first exhibition experience, because very often we don't know what we're doing. And I know this because I've done it. We don't know what we're doing. We sort of expect that we invest £2,000 in a stand space, and you get in the magazine, and then you know other things happen. And you expect that you're going to get your ROI, your return on investment, is going to cover that, and that you're going to come out the other end of it, after the event, with some sort of sales and money in your pocket. And it just doesn't happen. And I always say to people, it doesn't matter whether it's £10 or £10,000. If you need to make your money back at the end of the event to put food on the table, do not do it. Just don't do it, because the chances are you won't get your money back straight away. It's a much longer term thing than that. And for me, exhibiting is a learning process. It's a learning curve. The first one I went to was actually one of those, which was quite expensive. Sort of got there and thought, okay, I'm not really sure what I'm doing here. And you have to sort of learn how to do it. And so in many respects, you want to start off small, and also don't assume that the more you spend, the better your return is going to be, because that is not the case. That it just really, really isn't. I've had people at my smaller events who've said, I've made more connections here and more money than I have at, when I went to, I'm not going to mention them, but, some really big, significant events. And it's because you're having different conversations as well.
Yeah.
You're having very, very, very different conversations. So you weren't able to do that exhibition. That didn't happen, probably because it wasn't supposed to. What was the turning point for you? Because it sounds really sort of like head, bashing against a brick wall of trying to turn this around. Can you identify something that did turn it around? Because what I like about this story is that you did it without that money.
Yeah, and I think that was it for me. I thought the thing that always kept me going was I knew Kaylene's 10 now, so this was always my focus point. I thought, right, this is insanely hard, but if I quit, guaranteed when she's 10, I'm still going to be needing some sort of welfare or support, and I'm going to look her in the eye, I'm going to say, sorry, darling, but I gave up because it was just too hard. The alternative is I look her in the eye and say, we're here because I kept fighting through it. So that was what kept me going through it. But the turning point is I just tried everything. I think the point where I felt like I was able to help others, I ran a Facebook campaign, £5, literally just after I'd graduated in law. So sorry, at the same time I was doing a law degree, because I wanted to upskill and improve my prospects as much as possible, because I knew I was really up against it.
So that there was the view to that was actually, I'm doing a law degree because that's another career that I can potentially follow.
Yeah.
Not because it was going to feed into what you were doing with your product. Although it would have done, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I just really felt like, what could I do to give myself the best prospects?
Okay.
And I really wanted to push myself and challenge myself, because I was a creative in school. I wasn't really an academic, and I was never encouraged to I was always told that really wouldn't be me anyway, so it wasn't even any point trying. So I just wanted to prove people wrong, really. And as a very fluffy, creative person...
That's how I ended up doing so many qualifications. Yeah. Sweet Catherine Woolworths? I don't think so.
Yeah.
Watch this.
When you're fluffy and bubbly, I was a barmaid, and they just think they and I just wanted to say, look, I have got a brain that I can tap into when I need to. I just choose to be happy and bubbly and do creative stuff. Yeah. But I just needed a piece of paper to certify that it works. So anyway, I did that. But but then my frustration then, of course, when I graduated, was looking for qualifying employment or legal practice course. They were present as EM as well.
In the same situation.
Exactly the same situation. So this is where the kickstarting and the apprenticeships, this is where I bang on to government saying it's all very well getting them to that point, but as the female part of society, we need to reproduce. And at the point, if you're doing all this if you're getting us into work, if at the point then when we reproduce you kick us back out of work or make it so hard for us to continue working despite our skill set and our salary scale, then something's wrong. And we start to take tax out instead of keep paying it in. Like that's we need to look at that. I'm digressing. I'm sorry I do this.
Facebook ads. So what turned this around? What I want to get at is I think there are loads and loads of women who are in a situation where they have an idea, they want to change their economic circumstances, they have an idea, they don't have money, they can't see a way through. So you tried lots of things, you had this barrier of no money. What was it? Is there one thing that you can say, yes, it was that turned it? Or is it lots and lots of things that all came together? So you said you did Facebook ads for £5.
It's lots of things that all came together, and I think this is one thing that it's important. There is no quick fix, and there is no magic moment, and there is no give me £10,000 and I'll make you get £10,000 for the rest of your life. You know, I hate these fad, like I'll make you rich things, rich schemes. So no, you need to just keep working relentlessly hard. So the part of it, there was a couple of things to it, and this is relevant. So the one part is I'd run a Facebook campaign targeting solicitors within an hour of where I lived, and I said, look, this is what I've got. I need work that I can do in school hours. It paid off, just £5. Somebody contacted me and said, okay, you can work as a freelance paralegal lawyer.
Right, okay, so you ran a campaign to get employed within the legal profession using your degree. Right.
I wanted to be paid more, and I wanted to be paid for my value, for what I could do. So that was it.
Interesting.
So money started to come in from that revenue, from that freelance. Then I was able, through responsible finance, because the banks were still kicking me on the floor. It's like, no, you're a single mum on benefits. Like, we're not going to help you. Your credit score's damaged. But responsible finance said, no, Julie, so I did go and exhibit. I needed to do, it was a trade show. Bearing in mind, I was already 5 years in, so I really knew my audience at this point, and I knew I was exhibiting the right thing for the right audience, and I did. On that one day I sold more units than I'd sold the year before. So I thought, this is ridiculous. If I'd had that money to do that show, that one, a few years before, that would have taken away 3 years of benefits. So between getting the flexible legal work and being able to reach my audience for my product, those two things brought me in money and gave me some financial freedom. So I thought, right, this wasn't my bad, this is barriers, and there are women who need help with exposure to their business. So I thought I can help them with all the marketing, I can help them understand these things. And then I can also sort of talk about corporate responsibility and how actually it's just a presentism thing that creates a benefits culture.
So where are you at the moment with the Single Mums Business Network? What's that about? We've got a couple of minutes left. What's that about? Is it national? Is it international? So does it work globally, or is it based for the UK?
Yes.
And what does it offer?
So it's nationally UK, and the reason for that is because I know the marketing targets the UK. There's no point in me taking somebody in America if they're not going to get value for money. So I print these magazines in the UK and I give them out at exhibitions in the UK. So my ladies know that even if they're absolutely brassic, they only pay £2.50 per week membership. I've got members all over the UK. I think we just said that. So that's all they pay. It's a nominal fee. The reason I do that is we're not a charitable organisation. We're not a charity. We don't get any public funding, any kind of funding, because you're already so badly stigmatised and your self-esteem is already in the gutter when you're asking for help. So they're not asking for any help. They're paying their way. It's a business membership. It's a nominal one, but for that I put this together, and wherever I go they come with me. Wherever I get exposure, they get exposure with me. Like I said yesterday, the magazine was put in Liz and Rish's hands. So we're sharing the message about get rid of these barriers for us, finance homes and work, and here's my business. Please if one of you today looks through this magazine and you end up buying Lisa Berry's dog necklace, then my work is done, because for £2.50 a week she might have sold a £50 piece of solid silver jewellery. So I'm helping them. It's just they know I might not have them much, but they know they're not on their own. They know they're not fighting solo. They know it's not all on them. You know, I'm helping them. So that's what I do. And it kills me. I spent all my money on it.
I know that feeling, don't worry. We spend money on our businesses.
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
Okay, we're coming to the end of the show. Jules, how can people connect with you?
So I am appalling. Every handle is different. So on Twitter, it's Single Mums Biz. On Facebook, it's SMBN UK. On Instagram, it's single.mums.business.network. The best thing to do is just Google SMBN for Single Mums Business Network. If you Google SMBN, I dominate the first 5 pages, which is great. That's because I know what I'm doing with SEO. You know, so Google SMBN, and then you find all of the other pages there: LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook.
Okay, we're going to have another little bit of a quick fire round. So we're going to do Jules and Sam. So, what's your top tip for being in business?
See other women as their ally, not as their enemy.
Like that.
Sam, have you got a top tip?
Don't be afraid to give anything a go. No holds barred.
I like that. What do you know now? So, Jules, we're back with you. What do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you started out?
Oh, do you know, just be brave and don't be afraid. Concentrate on the people you help, not the people who don't understand what you do, the people who need you. Focus on what you can serve, not how, you know, it's about them, it's not about you.
Sam, what do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you started out?
Actually, to believe in myself and my own abilities. If I'd really, when I think back to how when I left school, I was so not confident, and I still struggle with that now. But actually believing in myself and
knowing what you can do. And Jacinta, we've got you around the corner, and we haven't really brought you into the conversation. That's partly because we're going to focus on your topic in the next show. So we are talking about look, I've got it. I can't think, but it's like not a nervous breakdown. What is it?
Brain fog.
Brain fog.
Brain fog.
The M word.
Yeah.
The M word.
That word, overwhelmed, not being able to do stuff,
brain
that sort of
fog.
thing. Have you got a top tip for being in business?
Keep going.
Just,
Keep going.
Keep going.
Even when you feel a little despondent, something didn't necessarily go the way you wanted it to. Just keep on going. Tomorrow's another day. I know it sounds corny.
No. I'll tell you what, it's something that I think we need to hear this, and we need to hear it regularly. And what do you know now that you wish you'd have known when you started out?
That I can do so much more than I thought I could.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that one. Okay, we are going to say goodbye. We've also got Kaylin in the studio, so thank you very much, Kaylin. Thank you for coming in with your mum and showing us what it's all about, being a single mum in business. So we've got Kaylin with us. Thank you, Julie. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Jacinta. And if you're listening to the second half of the show, we will be back in a few minutes. So you take care. Bye.
Bye.
Tune in next week to the Women in Business radio show for more stories, ideas, and inspiration to help you grow your business.